And I guess one other question coming in as how do you address whether it might be users, people that are looking to provision new types of technology applications and say, hey, I want this very specific name brand, right? Or kind of I heard of this one vendor, can we implement it? How do you have the conversation, or kind of how does that happen within your organization of saying, look, I hear you, and we already have X, right? Or we're leaning on this technology that covers multiple different use cases, as we mentioned, kind of within the reallocation scenario, right? What does that type of conversation look like, or how do you approach that?
Very good point, and I think it's definitely a conversation that we've been having very recently as a team. I think it's a difficult one because if you've got kind of one team using one product, they really love it, chances are in a different market there's a very similar tool. For us, we want unification, and we want to make sure that our teams are kind of getting the best product. So I think it's listening. It's listening to the products that they are using and that they're kind of recommending, seeing if that's something that would fit within our infrastructure, and obviously looking at the actual costs of it, the total cost of it. Really, is it something that we can really implement? Is there going to be user charges every month and those kind of sneaky, actually it's $30 a user kind of charge? I think it's something that we are, as an organization, we always take recommendations. At the end of the day, it does tend to come down to, we've got some really good kind of processes in place for large scale changes. And I think in particular for ourselves, we have our leadership team, before any impactful changes are made, we kind of look through everything, and we have a really good framework in place to help us evaluate those new tools and look at whether there's something actually we already have. We have Jira, it's a good project management tool. Looking at the things we have, seeing what's cost effective, and then if there is a new product on the market that might work better, really fully evaluating it, looking at the cost in 2, 3, 4 years time, and seeing if it's still going to be an effective product for us.
That's perfect. Yeah, I think it's always an interesting conversation. Like you said, we'll always take recommendations and kind of receive feedback, but when the decision's been made, kind of bringing it back into the fold of, hey, what is the total cost, right? What does this look like? Have you looked at all these other things? Because it might be a knee-jerk reaction, or help kind of educate all the end users on what their options are, really, because I think that's another big piece of it. Well, that's all the questions that we had come through, and so I want to thank you so much for kind of walking through how MIQ has approached this, all the different levers that we have at our disposal. One other piece I wanted to share real quickly is we do have some additional resources, the case study that Dani mentioned, and then also a couple actual tools that you can leverage in terms of understanding your own total cost of ownership. What does that look like, and a way to start calculating that for your organization as you start to think about all of those different pieces. And so with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, especially Dani. Thank you so much for giving us better insight into how MIQ has grown, operated, approaches all of these different things when we are thinking about how to combat IT sprawl.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us. We love working with JumpCloud. So if there's anyone listening on the call who hasn't yet made the jump, dad joke there, I would definitely recommend looking into it.
Please subscribe and check out more content from us.